Hi everyone, my name is Dina. I'm back today with another video for PotomacBeads. Today I'm going to show you how to make A Portal to Royalty bracelet. We'll be using some PieDuos and some 4mm Bicones. We'll have a cup button as our clasp and some other supplies. So go ahead and go down to that link down below, gather up those supplies plus a bead board, meet me back and I'll show you the first step. So now that you have all your supplies out and ready to go, because you're going to need just about everything all at once, all at the very beginning. What we're going to start off doing is we're actually going to put this cup button on first. Now we're not going to use 2 needles, we're only just going to use the one. So we'll end up basically just making that little loop with the cup button and then tying it off right there at the very beginning. So to do that, we've got my 2 11-0s up here at the top, and then my 2 15-0s down here at the bottom, just in case somebody's confused on the colors and stuff like that. So I'm picking up one of my brown 11-0s, and then I'm going to pick up 3 of my turquoise ones. I'm going to go up the bottom of the cup button. Then I'm going to pick up one of my 15s, which I'm going to do the peach one of the Bicones, another peach 15. I'm going to let that go down to the bottom of my thread, which I just have a small amount at the moment. And it's about it's about a little bit more than an arm span. I did it to about the center of my chest. Now we're going to go down the other hole of the cup button. I'm trying to hold the cup button in place because those other seed beads are flying around down there. Then I'm going to pick up 3 more of my turquoise 11s. Let those go down to the cup button. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot here. So just make sure you're not tying your knot in between any of the beads. Do your right over your left, left over your right. And whoops, see, I got a bead in there. Okay, can I get it out? There we go. And then just ever so slowly bring your knots down to the end. And don't get your beads in the knot. Of course this would happen with me. Every other time I've done this so far, I haven't had problems. And now I'm having problems. Okay. Work, please. Please work. Ha 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 ha. I got it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one side and grab the other side, pull tight, and then now I won, and I got that knot on there. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through those beads one more time if you can. Of course, there's a knot sitting right there, so you just have to kind of work around it. Try not to go through the knot, try to go around the knot. And then go through those beads one more time. And what you want to do is to come out of that brown 11-0 so we can continue on with the bracelet. And if that stop thread or if that thread gets to be too much in the way, then you can always burn that off right away. I would wait until you get a little bit down the bracelet first if you can, because I know sometimes that can really be annoying and it really feels like it gets in the way. But if you can, wait until you get a couple of steps down and then burn it off. Okay, so now we have that. So now we're going to get set up to start adding a couple of our double right angle weave sections before we start adding our PieDuos. So to do that, we're going to square stitch on one more brown 11-0. To do that, add your 11-0 to the needle, go back through the 11-0 that's already on the product, and make sure not to get into that stop thread. And then it makes it sit basically on top of each other. I'd go through that one more time, just to give it a little bit better of stability. And doing that gets 2 thread passes through that bead, And then go ahead and step back up to that second bead that we added. And then now we can do our double right angle weave. So to do that, we're going to pick up four of our brown 11s, and we're going to circle through that 11, that second one that's there, and then go through the first 11 that we just added, pick up an 11, a brown one, go through the next 11, pick up a brown 11, go through the next one in the circle, and do that one more time. So now you should be coming out of that fourth 11 that we added, and you should have something that looks kind of like a diamond. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get to this bead out here, that top bead up there. So to do that, I'm going to skip that 11-0 that's down here in the bottom that we started off in. I'm just going to go ahead and go through the beads around the edge. Now if I hit this corner, or this cornermost edge one, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You can go through it or you can skip it. So we're going to get up here. Now we're going to add a little bit of an embellishment. So pick up 3 15s, and I'm going to go ahead and use the peach color. Coming out of this point, we want to go back through this point down here. So I'm just going to go in the same direction. My thread's coming out of the left-hand side of that bead, so I'm going to go through the left-hand side towards the right of the bead down here in the bottom. And then pull tight. Make sure those beads stay to the top of what you're working with. Then circle back through those 3 15s that you just added. Now originally you were coming out of the left-hand side of that topmost 11-0, so we're going to go through the right and continue on through the left. So now we need to add one more of these, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker, and then I'll take a break for you to catch up to where I'm at, and then we'll move on to adding our PieDuos. So this is, go through that first bead. After you add the 4, then you pick up an 11-0, go through the next one. You do that total of 3 times, and then that gets you your other points that are on your right angle weave section. That's the third one, so you have your little diamond look. Now we're going to skip that last one and then go through the ones on the side to get to the very top. And then we're going to add our embellished 15-0s just to give it a little bit more color. You don't have to do this part, but you know, just a little bit more color. So 3 15s coming out of the right hand side, going to go through the right hand side of the bead down here on the bottom. Just realized these peach colors are the same color as my nails. No wonder I liked it. And then back through those 3 15s. And then we're going to round out going from the left to the right of that top one. Alright, so go ahead and get caught up to that, and then I will show you the next step where we're going to add some of our PieDuos. Alright, so now that we're caught up to where you've got your 2 double right angle weave sections done, we're going to start adding some PieDuos. So on your thread and needle, you'll need to add an 11, a 15, 2 pies, a 15, and an 11. So that first PieDuo, you're going to go from the outer edge or the crust side towards the inner edge or the pointed side. Now, of course, I use both of those terms interchangeably, so I will either say the outer edge or the crust side, and I will either say the inner edge or the pointed side. So hopefully that doesn't confuse anybody. But that first one, we're going from the outer edge to the inner edge, pick up a second one going from the inner to the outer, then you pick up a 15 and then an 11. So we're coming out of that topmost 11 out of our double right angle weave section. We're just going to go straight through from the left to the right of that bead one more time. One thing I did forget to mention at the very beginning, definitely make sure that you're using a size 12 needle. If you're using even a size 11 needle, you're going to break beads. I had to switch to a 12 when I was designing this because I broke about 2 or 3 beads. So definitely use a size 12 needle on this one. Now we're going to continue through that turquoise 11 and then the cream colored 15. I'm going to add 4 more 15s. And I'm going to do the cream. I'm on this side over here, so I'm going to go through that open hole of the PieDuo from the out to inner. I'm going to pick up another PieDuo from the inner side to the outer side. 4 15s. Let that fall to the product. Let it sit something like that, and then I'm going to go through the outer hole of that PieDuo, and then pulling tight. Your PieDuo should sit pretty close to the other one that's sitting there. Now I'm going to add another PieDuo in the same fashion from the inner to the outer, and then the 4 15s. Oh, and then throw them everywhere. Huh, most of them stayed on the needle. How about that? Let it fall to the product. Now it's sitting more like a pie shape. Go through that extra hole of that same PieDuo and then tug on it a little bit, then go through that open hole of one of the first 2 that we added. Then on this side we're going to add 4 more 15s. Okay, on this part we're just going to go straight through the 15, the 311 sitting there. Oops. Okay, see, some of these are tight. There it goes. They just get really tight sometimes, so just take your time going through it and then continue through. Oh man, if I can get it to work. Okay, I'm going through the 11 and then the first 3 15s. So basically I'm coming out in between, in the middle of the first 4 that we put on that PieDuo. So it's the first 3 15s, so there's 2 more 15s left over. I'm going to go ahead and put another 15 there. So then that puts a little picot sitting there. And then I think we add, yep, 3 11s. So I'm going to do a turquoise, brown turquoise. That should get you over here. Go through your first 2 15s. And I think I'm missing something. I am. You're supposed to put 15s on either side. Whoops. Okay, back out. So sorry. Okay. This is what I get for designing something almost a month ago and then trying to remember how to do it. Alrighty, so we're going to pick up a 15, 3 11s, and then a 15. So I have a cream of your 15, the turquoise, brown turquoise, and then another cream 15. And then that should get you to where you can go through the first 2 beads on the other side. Yay, it fits better. Sorry. Okay, then we're going to add another bead in the center here as a little picot pop out portion. Try to say that 3 times fast. And we're going to add our 15, the 3 11s, and then the 15. Go through the next one. I'm just going to finish out this side, and then we'll break, let you catch up, and then we'll move on to the next step where we're going to add the crystals on the next step. Okay, and then we're set up to right here. Now remember, we already had that extra 15 sitting there in the very beginning, so just go through your first two 15s on this last portion, and then pick up a 15, and then go through the last 15s. What you'll want to do is try to get through that 11-0, the brown 11-0 again, that we started off with. That was the one that was kind of giving me some problems, so it may take me a second to get through it. And then just pull tight so that last 15 gets right there. So go ahead and get caught up to that, and I'll show you how to add your bicones on top. Now we're set up to start adding our bicones. Now I'm going to be saying a lot of different 11-0s and 15-0s, so just to keep it simple, I'm just going to say at 11 and then 15 and so on and so forth. So you can either follow the same color pattern that I'm doing, or you can do your own color pattern. You can always be just using just one color as well of 11s and 15s to keep it even more simple. But you'll need a 15, no, excuse me, you're going to start off with an 11, a 15, a bicone, a 15, and then an 11, and then we're going to go backwards. We're going to do a 15, a bicone, 15, and 11. So I have 11, 15 bicone, and then the next section is a 15, 11, 15, and then the last section is a bicone, 15, and 11. Now we're coming out of this 11-0 down here that we started off with. It's got a lot of thread passes through it already. We're going to go to this 11-0 over here. Since we're coming out of the right hand side on this side, we're going to go through the right hand side over here. So just go through that middle brown 11-0. And when you pull tight, it sits almost exactly on top of your PieDuos. Now we're going to get to a point where we're going to add some more, so we're going to go back through the 11, the 15, the bicone, and the 11. So we're coming out of that middle brown 11. And then you want to tug it a little bit. Make sure you're tugging the thread, not the needle. Now since I'm kind of sitting more on the left hand side, I'm going to add my beads on the left now. So I'm going to add a 15, a bicone, a 15, and an 11. I'm going to go through the brown bead that's over here off to the left. I'm going to have to turn it so it's easier for me to get through it. Okay, I just turned it basically 180 degrees just then. Now that we're sitting right here at that brown 11, I'm going to go ahead and add my little extra embellishment out here to the side. Now you don't have to add this part. I just felt like it kind of added it and added a little bit more texture to the product. You don't have to do that though. I'm just doing a little right angle weave. Nothing fancy, just a normal right angle weave. So you add your 3 beads, make them sit right, and it'll sit like that. And then I go ahead and I go through that just one more time. Just go through those 4 beads one more time. That'll get us to where we're coming back through just that brown 11-0 there on the edge. Now we need to get through these beads and over here to the other side so we can add our bicones over there. So go through your 11, your 15, your bicone, your 15, and this is where you have to kind of pay attention. Now, we went through, since I had turned it in the opposite direction, you can kind of see it right here. You can see where there's a thread path through these beads right here. Then you can see that there's a thread path in this direction right here. So we want to make sure that when we go back through these beads here, we want to go through this middle brown bead in the same direction that we were heading in originally. Meaning, you want to make sure that there is a thread path on either side of that brown 11-0. And hopefully I can show you in just a second. The one time I actually do use white thread, you can see. So see how now there is a thread path on this side of the 11-0 towards the 15. Now there's a thread path on this side right here too. So from here we're going to add our 15, bicone, 15, and 11. And then we're going to go through, I'm going to switch it again. So now I'm turning it 180 degrees again. And we're going to go through the outer brown 11-0 and just the 11-0, just the brown one. Since we're here, we're going to go ahead and add our raw unit off to the side, just to give it a little extra flair. Again, you don't have to add this if you don't want to. And then go through it one more time, just for stability. There again, you don't even have to do that if you don't want. You can just go through it once. Ouch. I just poked myself with a needle. And then go back through the 11, 15, Bicone 15. And now we need to get to where we're coming out over here so we can add our next little double right angle weave section to move on to the next Bicone and PieDuo section. So again, you have to kind of look and see where the beads are at, or where the thread path is at. So right now, yeah, you can barely see that. Okay, so I have a thread path going in this direction at the moment. So really, I need to be going in this direction. So we're going to go from basically to the top to the bottom, and then out through those beads. And then that way, that makes that center 11-0 up here sit correctly. There's no weird thread paths or anything like that going through. Now I just switched it in my hands again. I'm back through all the seed beads at the very, very beginning, and we started off going in this direction. So there's a thread path on this side over here. So we're going to try to go through that 11-0 again. If you cannot get through that 11-0, if you feel like it's going to break, skip it, go through this 11-0, and then go around to this bead down here, which I think is probably what I'm going to do. But either way, if you're able to get through the 11-0 again, then you're going to go around these beads in this direction and get out this way. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and skip it and go through the turquoise one instead. And then I'm just going to follow all the beads around the edge, if I can even get through the turquoise one. And then I'm going to follow all the beads through the edge. If you go through that peak 15 that we added earlier, that's fine. There again, you don't have to go through that one. And then just make your way to that brown bead, which I'm having issues. So make your way over here to this brown bead, and then we'll do another double right angle weave, and then I'll show you how to start the next one. And after that, it's just on repeat. So meet me back and I'll show you that little step and we'll get going. Alright, so now we're coming out of of that brown 11-0 that's sitting there. So now we're going to do our double right angle weave. So start off with your 4 seed beads, and then round out through the 11-0 that you're coming out of right now. Go through that first one that you added, the first 11-0. Pick up an 11-0, go through the next one in line. Do that 2 more times. And pulling tight each time, because sometimes it gets a little loose. And then this last one is a little loose, but it'll be fine. Just like that. See how it's kind of loosey? It'll be okay though. And, oh, I see why it's really loosey. This first one got twisted. So untwist it a little bit and then tug. And then now we're fixed again. So now I'm going to skip that first 11-0 that's connected to all the PieDuos and the Bicones. And no, I can't get through that 11-0. Okay, and then we're going to go through the 3 along the edge to get to that topmost bead. Then we're going to add our 3 15s on the top. Go through the bead on the opposite side, which is that first one on the bottom. Make sure those stay on the top. Those 15s, go back through the 15s, and then go through your 11-0 at the top again. So now we're set up to start adding our PieDuos again. So it's very similar to what we did last time, which was we're adding an 11-0 and a 15. Then we're picking up a PieDuo, going from the out to the inner, and then a PieDuo going from the inner to the outer, then a 15 and an 11. And then going through this same bead that we're coming out of right now in the same direction. And then when you pull everything down, now you're in the same section as what we did down here, just going in the opposite direction. So if you need a refresher, you can go ahead and rewind and then follow those steps. Like I said, I was going in this direction, so I was going counterclockwise in that portion of the film. This one we're going in a clockwise direction, so it's the same steps, you're just going in the opposite direction. So go ahead and rewind if you need to and finish out your steps. Just remember to do a double right angle weave in between each of your products. I ended up doing a total of 7. This is the one that I have already made in blues, oranges, and whites. Those that know me know why I did those color choices. But anyways, that's the one that I did. And I did, I think it was 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 7 sections. And then I did a double right angle weave in between each. There again, I used white beads. That's why this one's my sample one and not the one that I'm using during the video. And then I will meet you back over here on this side because we do an extra right angle weave, double right angle weave at the end, and then I'll help you figure out how to do the loop, and our bracelet's almost done at that point in time. So go ahead and get done with this portion and meet me back and I'll show you. So when you're all said and done, your product should look something similar to this. I've got 7 sections on with a double right angle weave in between each. And then I've got two of those right angle weaves at the end. So now it's time to add our loop for our clasp. To do that, we're going to start off just like what we did down here on the bottom, where we square stitched on a bead to where our what is it called, cup button is at, and towards our right angle weave. So pick up an 11-0, a brown one, and round through that 11-0 that you're currently coming out of. And then I usually just go through it one more time, just to make it a little bit more stable. And then make sure you're coming out of that new bead that we just added. And then now we're going to start our loop for our cup button. And for me, this is the way I did it. I ended up doing, I've already got the brown right there in the center. So I'm going to, what I end up doing is I kind of copy what I did down here a little bit. So I'm starting off with a turquoise 11, and then I'm going to pick up a cream, peach cream 15, and then I do a turquoise, brown, turquoise 11. So that's kind of the pattern. I do the 3 15s and then the 3 11s, and I do the cream, peach cream 15, turquoise, brown, turquoise of the 11s. And what you'll end up having is, I think, 6 of your 15 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So continue that pattern if you'd like that pattern. And then turquoise, brown, turquoise. That's number 2. And I'm going to have to get some more 15s out, because I'm going to run out of that. And that's 3. That's, whoops, 4 stuck together. Okay, 4. And then I can get this one and I'm going to add more. There's 5. And get a little bit more of my cream out. Okay, so that was my 6th set of the 15s. Now to end it, we'll just need to add just one more of our turquoise. So then that gives us 6 sets of our 15s. In between those 15 sets are the 3 sets of the 11-0s. So we're going to start with a turquoise 11-0 and end with a turquoise 11-0. And that's because we already have a brown one sitting here. So when you put it all together, it kind of looks like it's one complete circle. So then all you have to do now, just go through these at least one more time. Like I've said on many other videos, if you can get through it more than one more time, go ahead and do so. If you feel like your product is already strong enough, then you don't have to. And before you tie off, double check it. I've done that way too many times where I've gone through this, I'm like, oh, it's perfect, it'll fit, no problem. And then I tie it off and get ready to wear the bracelet and can't get it on because my clasp is too tight. So before I go a third time around and then tie off, I'm going to take my cut button, I'm going to push it through, and it still fits perfect. Yay! So that's all I'm going to end up doing. I'll go through this one more time, the loop one more time, and then I'll go down into here and make a couple of half hitch knots and everything and then tie off. Other than that, your bracelet should be complete. Thanks so much for watching my A Portal to Royalty bracelet tutorial. Now don't forget, if there's anything you're missing, you don't have supplies of one thing or another, go down to that little link down below, or that little list down below, and it has links to where you can go to PotomacBeads website and you can purchase whatever you're needed. So don't forget to do that. Also, don't forget to take any pictures and post into Facebook. We love to see different colorways and different ideas that you have made your own, basically, of our tutorials. So get ready for the next video, because I know it's going to be a good one, and y'all have a great day.